I'm going to show you 4 Wolfpack minifigures that LEGO should have made by now, and one more additional minifigure that, in my opinion, is the most unique out of all of them. Thanks to GCC for sending all of these minifigures my way to review. Let's start with Sinker. All of these are pad printed minifigures. Pad printing is actually the same quality as official LEGO, and they also use all official LEGO parts, except for the helmets on these minifigures, which is made with ABS plastic, and that's the same plastic LEGO uses, and the mold is just really good. This one is $22 for Sinker, and the next one is Comet. This is probably my favorite out of the batch of minifigures that I'm showing you guys. That is because I just really love the helmet design. But one thing that I think GCC could improve this minifigure by doing is making this jagged line ever so slightly thicker, but that's the only criticism I have of this minifigure. Next is Boost. This is probably my second favorite out of the batch because look at that helmet print. I really love his helmet print. I'd also like to point out that the clutch power on these helmets are really good, and I think they recently improved the way that they sit. I think they sit a little bit higher than they used to on these newer GCC minifigures, which makes it really accurate to official helmets. And I'm gonna actually put on an official helmet onto one of these minifigures to compare and see how high the official versions sit compared to GCC. And look at that. They are pretty darn close. That is actually kind of crazy how similar these helmets look to official LEGO. So Boost is also $22, and he has arm printing, all the different printing that the other ones have. And I think the helmet is the main difference between these 3 minifigures. Next, we have a dark red Wolfpack trooper. This is technically not canon because the Wolfpack changed to gray after the battle of how do you pronounce this word?
Abregado.
Okay, Abregado. That's what it, yeah. So they changed colors after the Battle of Abregado, but that was still when they were phase 1. So during phase 2, they had always been gray. So I think it's really cool to see how these clones would have looked if they would have maybe not sustained as heavy losses during that battle. This is just a really solid figure as well, and this is $22. If the Coruscant Guard was blue instead of red, this is what Commander Fox would have looked like. I think GCC did a much better job than LEGO on Commander Fox. The comma feels a lot less spongy than what LEGO commas feel like, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it distinguishes it as different. It probably is less likely to fray as well. The printing on the top of the helmet is much better than the LEGO printing, and obviously on the torso as well, it looks just so much better. If we take this minifigure apart, you can tell that the hips are printed blue. They're not actually blue hips, and there is no printing on the back of the legs, but that is okay because the comma kind of covers that up. I did wish it came with a black visor, but I do understand that visors in black are really hard to come by nowadays, and you kind of have to pay a lot of money for them. I had to do that on one of my minifigures, which is actually Commander Thorn. That was really expensive. That raised the minifigure price by $2, and GCC would have had to buy a lot more than I did. This would definitely be a much more expensive minifigure if they had to do that. So I can see why they compromised with this color instead, since that's what LEGO did. And looking at the arm printing, that just makes me think, why the heck did LEGO not print the arms on Commander Fox? I mean, look at how cool this design looks. This minifigure will cost you $32, which I think is a bit pricey in my opinion, but the helmet color is pretty rare, and I don't know how much these helmets go for, but I'd assume like that's one of the reasons that the price is a bit higher, and the accessories also will be a reason for the price increase. But in my opinion, I think $27 would be a more fair price, because I can't imagine all those changes that I talked about would be more than $5 worth. But if you want to buy any of these minifigures, GCC's website is linked in the description, as well as a bunch of resellers if you need them. A lot of GCC reviewers have just kind of not been uploading as of recently, so I hope you enjoyed me filling in for them. If you support this video, I might be able to review more GCC minifigures in the future, maybe even some current ones.